Hello there and welcome to the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. It's Carrie Rhodes here. I'm super excited to be back on the ScrapbookPal channel sharing some creations with you today. I'm going to be focusing on the Betterpress Merry Christmas collection from Spellbinders. I will be using this plate right here. It's called Merry Christmas World. It looks like a postage stamp and it has sentiments that say Merry Christmas in different languages. It's really cute. I'm going to be using some cotton card panels in porcelain from Spellbinders to make my prints on, and I will be laying this on the Betterpress system. You can see that here right inside that A2 sized frame. I'll ink it up with some Wild Berry Betterpress ink, and they say when you press down on this that it's good to do a little press and turn, and so that's the method I'm using to ink it up, and I find that it works really well. I'll just cover that so everything is inked up really well before adding my paper to the top plate of the Betterpress system, and I'm putting it in line with those hash marks that show me where the A2 paper should go, and then I can snap that down. It just magnets right in place. Run it through my Platinum 6 die cutting machine, which will press it down onto that plate and transfer the ink onto that paper. And I love that if you get ink onto the other surfaces of the Betterpress, it does not transfer onto the paper. That is so cool. So I think this turned out really good. I just love the impression that it gives into that paper. I'm cleaning off the plate here with some archival cleaner, and I just like to let that set for a minute. Then I'll come in with a paper towel and buff off any excess ink, and then it's ready to go for the next color, which is archival ink in the fired brick color. I did not happen to have any Betterpress ink in red, so archival will also work on these plates. I have that all inked up. I'm also going to use another porcelain panel to transfer this onto, and it comes out beautifully. It is so much easier to see the detail and how these plates press into the paper in real life, and it's just a really cool look. It has a vintage vibe to it that I love. So now I'm going to take these panels and turn them into cards. I'm going to start out with the red one, and I'm going to ink blend over the top using Distress Oxide in Kitsch Flamingo. I'm going to keep the ink more concentrated there in the bottom left corner and have it fade out to white as I move towards the upper right corner, and just blending that on there. It is a really fun way to play with your Betterpress prints. So I'll have that, and I'm going to add a little bit of splatter with water, and that is just going to lighten up some areas and give me a really cool splatter look. Plus I've got the water out. I can clean up my inky mess off my mat at the same time. Next, I'm bringing in some Yuletide Distress Mica spray stain. I'm spraying a scrap there of watercolor paper that I'm going to use later, but I'm also going to put a little of this spray onto a window sheet that I like to use for splattering, and I'm going to use a little scraggly paintbrush, and when I drag that across the edge of this window sheet, it's really going to give me like almost a mist, but that's a little less concentrated than if I just sprayed it with the sprayer. So there you can see what that looks like. I'm going to set that aside to dry. I'm bringing in another piece of watercolor paper, larger this time, and spraying that with the Holly Branch Distress Mica spray stain, and just creating a green piece of cardstock, but it's also splattery and shimmery. It's so good. So I'll come back in with some Winterberry and add a little bit more color to this red panel, a touch of pink. When both of those are dry, now I can use these for die cutting, and I'm going to die cut it out with the American Holly die set here. I love all things holly. Any stamps or dies with holly, I love them, and I thought it would be really fun to use these Betterpress backgrounds as backgrounds for a card with something on top. So many of the Betterpress plates that I've seen so far have really been like focal point images, and I love the background kind that I can build on top of. So I was super excited about this plate in particular. All right, so I'm gonna layer these two pieces up. I love that this die set allows you to kind of configure your holly branch however you want by building these two different pieces in different ways. I'm adding a little bow of some red and white baker's twine to the top of this. I think red and white baker's twine I could put it on almost anything for Christmas. Cards, packages, goodies. I love it. I'll stick that down with a glue dot so it's held in place really well. And then for my little berries, some tweezers are really going to help me get the glue on here and then position it how I like. And this one is a kind of a really cool configuration of berries. I think it's really fun. So I added that at the top, and then this whole panel is getting added to an A2 size card base. You can see I trimmed my top panel down so it's 4 inches by 5 1/4, giving me that nice white border all the way around the edge of my card. I am going to bring this card back at the end for embellishment, but we're going to move on to the pink background, which I decided to cut out around the edge. I so wish this would have come with a die because I love that edge and I think I would use that die in other ways besides just to die cut this out. But you know, that's what scissors are for, and it worked out just fine. I'm going to color the whole border here. My lightest color there is RV52, and then I'm going to just trace that line. It is actually an open line, but the lines are so close together. I just filled it in to make it more vibrant and solid with my RV09. I'm also adding a little touch of color to some of the open images in this design with that RV52. To top this card, I'm going to bring in the new Festive Ornaments from Spellbinders, designed by Nicole Spohr, and create a little ornament that looks like a present. It's so cute. So I wanted this to really, really match my card, so I decided I would go ahead and color out my ornament. Now this circle piece is about 2.5 inches, and so it's kind of a larger piece. That's why I'm using that chisel tip of my Copic marker here, and it really gives me nice thick coverage. It goes a little bit faster. I did bring in that RV52 lighter color just to lay down a little bit of color there that's going to help me ink blend with one Copic marker. I want the rest of my coloring to be lighter than the part I already colored. So you'll see that here, that it just helps me kind of blend with that darker and add that lighter layer. And I know a lot of this is going to be covered up on my coloring because I'm going to add stuff on top, but I still think it's fun to give each little piece on your card a little bit of love, a little bit of attention, and I think that it will show through just enough in the background to show some dimension. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is this die right here. Now this might seem like, oh, it's just a straight piece, but it is perfectly sized to fit this ornament and the edges are rounded. And I love the kind of thought that Spellbinders puts into their die just like that. And also this bow, it has this layer here, which gives the bow just a bit of dimension. You could do it in a darker color if you wanted because it outlines or highlights that inside portion of the bow. And then adding that gives a little bit of lift to this middle piece, which pops it up just a tiny bit. I love those details. So next I'm adding the ornament topper, which I cut from some silver glitter cardstock. So pretty. And I wanted to add a little bit more shine to this in those highlighted areas, so I'm tracing along the edge there with my white gel pen. Then I can add this to my card. You can see I've laid out all the pieces that I want to use, but I wanted to die cut some holly from the center of that bright green piece, so I didn't have to waste paper. And then I cut the berries from some pink glitter cardstock. I've popped up my ornament, and then I can add that holly. You can see there's more holly. I love it. And I am layering up the berries. So there's a cluster of 3 berries, and then in the set there's 1 single berry. So I thought it'd be fun to layer it up kind of like the center of that bow. It gives one of them just a little bit of a lift and a little bit more dimension and interest. I have a little strip here that I die cut from, or I cut with that same silver paper to be the string of my ornament, and that completes this card except for the embellishment. I think this card is so very pretty. I love these colors. It's almost a purplish pink with that fluorescent green. Oh, it makes me so happy. So to embellish, I have some color essential gems that are silver. So some of these are clear with a silver backing, and then some of them are silver gems, like silver all the way through. So the ones that are more clear, I used on my bright card. The ones that are more solid, I used on my more muted traditional color card. But I thought it was so much fun to bring in a touch of pink for Christmas. I'm in love with pink for Christmas, and just play around with those traditional colors and put a little bit of a twist on them. And I think these cards turned out so good. I hope you are inspired to play with the Betterpress and maybe try some techniques with it and just have fun making your Christmas cards. I thank you so much for stopping by the Scrapbook Pal channel. We have lots of videos, so feel free to subscribe and you can see what we've got on the channel coming up for you with new videos that we have all the time. I'll see you back here again next month. Happy stamping! Bye!